There are nights when you are so tired you only want to collapse into bed and disappear from everything for a while. But the moment you lie down, your mind starts running like a machine that cannot find the off switch. The conversations from today, the emails you have not answered yet, the decisions you are still hesitating about, the small mistakes you made, they all line up in your head like an endless checklist. The apartment is quiet. Outside, only a few cars are still passing on the street, city lights spilling in along the edge of the curtains. Your phone is right next to you, the screen still lit as you open your inbox one more time, scroll through the names and notifications, then turn it off without replying to anyone. You do not want to talk anymore, but your mind is not ready to be quiet. Maybe recently you have heard a lot about resilience, about how you have to be stronger, tougher, able to stand firm through every punch life throws. At work, someone says, "We just need to push through this quarter." Online, people show off their ability to bounce back after every failure like it is a medal. And there are days when just waking up, going to work, finishing a few tasks, and coming back home already feels like a marathon. You still try to smile in online meetings. You still answer, "I'm good," when someone asks how you are in passing. But at night, when the only sounds in the room are the air conditioning and your own breathing, you ask yourself, if this is what it means to be resilient, why do I feel this drained? You start blaming yourself for being weak, blaming yourself for being so easily hurt, blaming yourself for things that, if you were a truly strong person, you'd think you would have let go of a long time ago. The truth is, there is nothing wrong if tonight you are not very okay. There's nothing wrong if you feel like you used up all of your energy today to keep a strong image in front of other people. And now you only have a thin layer of quiet left just for yourself. You are not the only one lying in bed, staring at the ceiling and thinking, "I am not sure how much more of this I can take." And you are not weak just because you feel tired. There is another kind of resilience, quieter, softer, not loud, not built on pretending that everything is fine. A kind of resilience that does not demand you turn into a superhero, but allows you to stay a normal human being with limits and emotions without falling apart inside. Tonight, I am not here to tell you that you have to be stronger or to force you to believe that every pain has some higher purpose. I do not have a magical formula that will change your whole life in one night. Instead, we are going to look at resilience through the eyes of the Stoics, not as a cold suit of armor, but as a mind that knows how to tell the difference between what it can control and what it has to let pass. We are going to move slowly, very slowly, from the heavy thoughts you are carrying tonight toward gentler ways of speaking to yourself, so you no longer need to use all of your strength just to look okay. For the rest of this night, you do not have to prove anything to anyone. You do not have to solve every problem. You do not have to finish planning your future. And you do not have to heal yourself right away. You only need to lie there, let your body rest on the familiar mattress, feel your blanket, your pillow, and your breathing slow down a little. My part is to walk with you, to remind you that this feeling does not define all of who you are, that these falls do not erase your worth, and that resilience is not about keeping on running in panic, but about knowing when you can allow yourself to stop. Take a long breath and rest for a while. The next few minutes are just a quiet conversation between you and me, so the noise in your head can soften a little. Just enough for you to close your eyes without feeling like you are fighting alone. If you pause and look closely at your life lately, you might notice something that is hard to put into words. What exhausts you the most is not always the big, dramatic events, but this constant feeling that you have to hold it together every single day. Holding it together to be the most stable person in the meeting room, the calmest person in your family, the most reliable person in your friend group. During the day, you carry many roles. At work, you are the person who delivers, who solves problems, who can handle it. In your family, you are the one everyone messages when there is something to discuss. In your social circle, you are the rational one, the person people ask for advice about career, relationships, money. It sounds like a kind of success. But little by little, it turns into an invisible backpack that you almost never take off, even when you get home, shut your laptop, close the door, and you are alone in a quiet apartment. There are mornings when you start the day with an inbox already full of emails and messages, red dots lighting up on your screen as soon as you open your eyes. There are afternoons when you finish the workday with the to-do list still halfway done and a lingering sense that you did not do enough. Between those 2 points is a stream of meetings, tasks, messages, sudden requests. You jump from your own work to helping with someone else's, from one deadline to the next, with almost no real empty space to sit still and ask, "How am I doing today?" Sometimes you catch yourself on the way home, on the subway, in the car, or just on the short walk from your desk to your bedroom, with your mind still spinning like a browser with too many tabs open, replaying conversations, words, looks that make you feel you have to try a bit harder, be a bit better, endure a bit more. If someone looked from the outside, they might say you are doing great. You still go to work, you pay your bills, you keep an independent life. You still have some moments of fun, you still post a few normal-looking pictures online. But only you know what the cost of that doing great really is. It is the nights when you lie in bed, your body completely worn out, but your mind refusing to sleep, as if it still has a long checklist to go through. It is the times you swallow the words, "I cannot take this anymore," because you are afraid that if you admit that out loud, people will be disappointed, things will fall apart, or worse, they will say, "I thought you were stronger than that." In those rare moments when you are truly alone, sitting on the couch with a thin blanket, standing in the kitchen with a cold glass of water in the middle of the night, or leaning against the bathroom wall while hot water runs down your shoulders, you can feel exactly where that weight is sitting. Not just on your shoulders, but in your chest, in your stomach, in all the places in your body that always seem tighter than they need to be. The Stoics do not deny that these weights exist. They simply look at them from another angle. Seneca has a line that is soft, but heavy at the same time. Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. If you read that in the silence of a dark room, it suddenly feels very close to your own life. There are days when just getting out of bed, turning on your computer, answering the emails that need answers, meeting the people you have to meet, and still having enough awareness at night to realize "I am tired" is already a kind of courage no one claps for. You do not need to do something spectacular. You do not need to pass through some dramatic trial to be called resilient. Sometimes resilience is simply not turning your back on your own life, even when it feels much heavier than you hoped it would be. Every morning, Marcus Aurelius wrote simple reminders to himself. He knew he would face difficult people, unfairness, and situations far beyond his control. And he prepared his mind for that. He did not pretend the day would be easy, but he also did not allow himself to be swallowed by the worst-case scenarios in his head. One of the things he reminded himself of was to remember what truly lies within his power, how he sees things, how he responds, how he keeps himself from being dragged away by other people's anger or fear. When you look back at your invisible backpack in that light, you might notice something important. What makes you tired is not only the number of things you have to do, but the way you have been talking to yourself about those things for a long time, as if you have to carry everything, as if no one is allowed to see you put anything down. Maybe for years you have been telling yourself, "I can handle it, I just need to push a little more," so often that it became automatic. That sentence helped you get through a lot of hard seasons, but it also made it harder for you to notice when you had already gone too far, when you had passed the limit your body and mind could safely hold. You started measuring your worth not by whether you're living honestly with yourself, but by how much you can take, how much pressure, how much criticism, how much loneliness, how many times being misunderstood. And every time you manage to take a little more, you quietly raise the bar again, as if resilience is a ladder you must keep climbing forever, never allowed to stop. If tonight you are lying here and you feel you have climbed too high on that ladder, like one more push will make you fall, then the first thing I want you to do is not to tense up more, but to honestly tell yourself, this is heavy. That heaviness is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that you have been carrying far too much for far too long, more than any normal human being can carry without feeling worn down. The fact that you feel tired does not mean you have failed. It only means you are still clear-headed enough to recognize that you are a human being, not a machine. The resilience we are going to talk about for the rest of tonight will not ask you to add more things into your backpack. It will not demand that you constantly prove you can take more than other people. Instead, it begins with a very small but very important question. Among all the things you are carrying on your shoulders, other people's expectations, your self-image, the fear of being judged, the standards you set for yourself, which of them truly belong to you, and which are things you picked up without thinking, just because you believed you had to? Only when you dare to look at that without judgment and without sugarcoating can you start to build a different kind of resilience, a kind of strength that is no longer built on denying your feelings, but on understanding why you are so tired, and what you can gently put down because it is no longer needed. And from this point of recognizing the invisible weight, you can finally move to the next step, learning to tell what you can really control and what you have to let pass without letting it drag you under. When people praise you for being resilient, they usually have no idea what you have had to trade away inside yourself to keep that image alive. On the outside, strong sounds beautiful. It brings up the picture of someone who always stands firm, always stays calm, always can handle anything. But if you look closely at how you were taught about strength, you might see that you were never really taught how to stand firm. You were mostly taught how to switch off your feelings, shove everything down, and keep working as if nothing had happened. You get praise for not crying in the meeting, for not complaining when more work is dumped on you, for being so professional while going through something heavy and still performing like normal. No one sees you in front of the mirror in the office bathroom taking a deep breath to push your emotions down, wiping your eyes quickly, then turning your camera back on in time for the next call, as if those last few minutes never existed. Slowly, you start to mix things up. You think resilience means you're not allowed to be weak, not allowed to say, "I cannot do this anymore," not allowed to step back even half a step. You hear lines like, "Don't be so sensitive, everyone is tired, people have it worse than you." And instead of feeling comforted, you decide that your feelings are something to be ashamed of. So every time you are exhausted, you are not only dealing with the exhaustion itself, you are also carrying an extra layer of guilt. If I complain, I really am useless. If you think like that for long enough, you start using being strong as a mask. You go to work with it, see your friends with it, love with it, until even you forget what your real face looks like when you're not trying so hard to appear okay. The Stoics do not define strength that way. Marcus Aurelius did not write his journal to show off that he was always fine. It is the opposite. He wrote down his struggles very clearly, very honestly, sometimes very bluntly. There is a line of his that feels especially right for you tonight. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. For Marcus, strength is not pretending that what happens outside does not hurt you. Strength is recognizing that the only thing you can truly develop, train, and protect is your mind. The way you see things, the way you speak to yourself after every fall. If you think being strong means you're not allowed to feel sad, to shake, to be afraid, then you will feel like a failure every single time a feeling shows up. But if being strong means that even when you are sad, even when you are shaking, even when you are afraid, you still do not abandon yourself, then every experience can become part of your resilience. Maybe for many years, you have lived with a very harsh version of the sentence, "What does not kill you makes you stronger." You used it to push yourself. If this has not killed me, then I am not allowed to be tired. You went through burnout. You went through a toxic relationship. You went through financial pressure. But instead of allowing yourself to really see how heavy those things were, you only told yourself, "I survived, so it is fine." A Stoic would not argue with the fact that you survived, but they would ask one more question. After surviving, what story are you telling yourself? Are you truly stronger, or did you just add another layer of armor over your heart and call that resilience? Seneca has a famous line, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." If you read it quickly, it is easy to twist it into, "You are overreacting, you are weak, that is why it hurts." But what Seneca is really pointing at is this: the most painful part often comes from the way you tell the story to yourself afterward, not just from the event itself. Your boss might say something rude and insensitive. That is real hurt. But then, for days, you replay that sentence in your head in a voice that is even harsher than his. And every time you repeat it, you add a new conclusion about yourself. I really am useless. I never do anything right. Resilience in that spirit is not pretending that his words did not hurt you. It is refusing to let the story you tell afterward kill you again every night. You can look back at the recent times when you acted strong and ask a very simple question. In that moment, who were you trying to protect, your heart or your image in other people's eyes? There are times when you say, "I am fine," not because you are fine, but because you are afraid that if you say, "I am not okay," the other person will feel awkward, will feel burdened, or will walk away. There are moments when you take on more work, not because you truly want to contribute, but because you are used to being the one who carries extra. You're afraid that if you say no, people will see you as weak, lazy, irresponsible. When you define resilience as never saying no, you enter a game you will always lose, because your body and mind were not designed to say yes to everything. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." If you read it as a quick motivational quote on Instagram, it can sound like pressure. React the right way, and if you do not, it is your fault. But if you breathe with it slowly tonight, you can hear something different. The event already happened. The words were spoken. The email was sent. The breakup took place. The decision was made. The what happens part is no longer in your hands. The only thing still within reach is how you will talk to yourself from now on. Resilience does not depend on whether you feel sad or not, whether you feel pain or not. It lives in the space where, while you are sad and while you are in pain, you choose what to say to yourself. I am stupid, I deserve this. Or, I am hurting and that is normal. I have the right to hurt. And I also have the right not to use this pain as a sentence against my whole life. If tonight you are tired of always having to be the strong one, maybe it is time to change your definition. Instead of strong / no crying, no complaining, no stepping back, you can try a different version. Strong section daring to look straight at my real feelings without shame, daring to set boundaries when I am overloaded, daring to admit that I also need to be held up sometimes. In Stoic terms, resilience is not a performance for other people to watch. It is a long, quiet relationship between you and your own mind. It does not have to look good on social media. It does not have to look cool. It does not have to be trendy. It only has to be true. True enough that you no longer have to fake it with yourself every night before you sleep. From that angle, you might start to see that the moments you thought were weakness were actually moments of real strength. The time you decided to go to therapy, the time you dared to say, "I have not been okay lately," the time you turned down a request because you were already beyond your limit, the time you allowed yourself to take a day off, turned off all notifications, and just lay still. Those moments do not show up on Instagram. No one claps for them. But they are exactly when you've been slowly correcting your definition of resilience, shifting it from something used to push yourself past breaking point into something used to protect you. And that is the foundation you need before we go deeper into how the Stoics build true inner resilience. Starting with a clear line between what is within your control and what is not. When you finally see the invisible backpack you are carrying and realize how heavy it really is, the next question almost always comes up. So what am I supposed to do with all of this? This is also where a lot of people burn out, not because they do not want to change, but because they are trying to control things that were never theirs to control. You worry about work, about your financial future, about your family's health, about your partner's mood, about the stability of the company, about the economy, about things completely outside your reach. Every time something feels unstable, you jump straight into fixer mode. What do I have to do? What do I have to say? What do I have to think so that everything goes back to normal? And when it does not work, you do not just feel tired, you feel like a failure. As if you were better, stronger, if you tried harder, things would not have gone this way. The Stoics start resilience from a very different place. They state very directly that some things will not be in your hands, no matter how hard you try. Epictetus opens his Enchiridion with a sentence that is almost the foundation for the whole philosophy. Some things are up to us, and some are not up to us. It sounds simple, but if you lay it over your life tonight, it cuts sharper than most motivational quotes. You can do your absolute best at work, but you do not control whether the company decides to restructure. You can love someone honestly and kindly, but you do not control whether they stay or leave. You can live responsibly, but you do not control every economic shift or every detail of your family's health. The only thing Epictetus calls up to us is not the outcome, but your choices, your judgments, your reactions, your attitude toward what happens. If you look back at your own weight through this lens, you might see something a little painful but very true. A big part of the heaviness in your chest comes from trying to use your mind to process things it was never designed to control. When you lie down in bed, instead of simply feeling that you are tired and allowing your body to rest, you start running through worst-case scenarios. If my boss asks me about this tomorrow, what will I say? If this project fails, how will I survive? If that person stays silent forever, does that mean I have no value? What if I lose everything? In that moment, the only things truly in your hands are whether you turn the screen off on time, whether you allow your body to sleep, whether you choose to say something gentler to yourself tonight. But your brain is pulled completely into things no one can know yet. Marcus Aurelius has a line that sits very well next to your worries. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This line does not deny that some things really hurt. Losing a job hurts, a breakup hurts, betrayal hurts, financial pressure hurts, injustice hurts. What Marcus is pointing at is this. The part of the pain that can stretch out without limit is the part you are adding with your thoughts. The event happens once, but every time you replay it in your mind with heavier conclusions, you are turning it into a sharper, updated version. You cannot go back in time to avoid the event, but you can slowly learn not to let your own estimate become the thing that tortures you night after night. Take a very small, very real example. You receive an email from your boss with a harsh comment. The objective event is simple. There is an email, there are some words, there is a slightly sharp tone, the parts outside your control, your boss's mood that day, the pressure they are getting from above, the company's communication culture, whatever they brought from home into the office that you know nothing about. The parts within your control, how you read that email again, how you respond, and how you talk to yourself about your own worth afterward. If you let the not up to us side swallow the up to us side, you will translate that email into lines like, I never do anything right. I am not good enough. I am the problem. Later, when you lie in bed, the email is no longer on the screen, but your estimate of yourself will keep expanding, creeping into other parts of your life, your relationships, your future, your self-worth. Or in a relationship, how someone responds to your feelings is never fully in your control. You can be kind, honest, and clear, but you do not control their old wounds, their fears, the way they learned to love in the past. You can do everything you know to hold on, to fix, to save something that is cracking. But if they are not ready, if the situation does not allow, if the timing is wrong, you cannot move all of it by yourself. The only thing in your hands is how you choose to show up in that relationship. Whether you are honest with your own feelings, whether you respect your own boundaries, and how you walk through the pain if things do not stay the way you hoped. When you try to control what is not yours, someone else's emotions, choices, process, you not only fail, you burn yourself out and then blame yourself for an ending that was never up to you in the first place. Tonight, if you want to do something practical for your mind, you do not need to write out some big plan. You only need to look straight at the things that are weighing on you and ask one very old but very useful question. In this situation, what is really within my control and what is not? Maybe you are anxious about a meeting tomorrow. The parts you control are your preparation, sleeping enough so your mind is less foggy, choosing how you speak to yourself if something does not go as planned. You do not control other people's moods, the surprise questions they decide to throw at you, or the hidden agendas you were never told about. Maybe you are worried about your financial future. You control how you spend, how you learn, how you look for opportunities. You do not control the market, inflation, or the decisions of a company on the other side of the world. Maybe you are afraid that someone will leave. You control whether you love them well, whether you say what needs to be said. You do not control the moment when they feel it is time to go. Resilience, in the Stoic sense, is not about winning every situation in the outside world. It is about not losing yourself every time you meet a situation you cannot control. It is not a promise that everything will turn out the way you want. It is a different kind of promise. Whatever direction things go, you will not use that event to destroy your relationship with yourself. You can fall, you can hurt, you can lose things. But you do not have to add a final sentence in your head that says, "So I am worthless." And that tiny space between what happened and the line I add on top of it is where resilience is born, little by little. Right now, as you are lying here listening, part of your mind might want to apply all of this perfectly to split everything into up to me and not up to me in a clean way, and then beat yourself up if you still feel tangled. You do not have to do that. Just pick one thing that is worrying you the most tonight, only one, and try to look at it through Epictetus's lens. In that situation, what is your choice, your attitude, your response, your values? And what is the rest of the world? You do not need to solve it completely. You do not have to feel lighter right away. But if you shift your focus even a little from how do I control everything to how do I stay with myself in the things I cannot control, you are already very close to how the Stoics build resilience. You can bring your attention back to your body for a moment. The way your back is resting on the mattress, the weight of your head on the pillow, the blanket lying gently on your chest and your legs. Here, in this room, on this night, there are small things that are completely in your hands. How you let your breathing slow down half a beat, how you allow your shoulders to soften, how you choose one gentler sentence to tell yourself before sleep. The rest, tomorrow's email, next week's meeting, other people's decisions, the movements of the world, will not become up to you no matter if you stay awake 1, 2, or 3 more hours. And maybe the quietest form of resilience you can practice right now is to accept that. Then close your eyes and allow your mind not to control everything for a few hours. By now, you might see more clearly what you cannot control and what truly belongs to you. But there is one thing that is hard to put into any list: your emotions. You cannot give a command like, "Do not worry tonight," and expect your brain to obey. You cannot write a to-do list and cross out each feeling one by one. No sadness tomorrow, no feeling small next week, no loneliness next month. Emotions, especially when you have been under pressure for a long time, tend to come like sudden waves. One small sentence can pull up a whole old anger. One random memory can lift a sadness you thought you buried. One indifferent look can touch the old sense that I am not enough. During the day, you have enough noise to distract yourself. Work, calls, notifications. But at night, when the world around you quiets down, those waves seem to have been waiting just for that. There are nights when you lie there and ask yourself, why am I reacting so strongly to something so small? Maybe it is just a message that was read and not answered, a missed call, a slightly sharp comment. But inside it feels like being abandoned, like being invisible, like being the one who is never chosen. You know your reaction is too much for the event itself, but that does not make the feeling disappear. It only adds a layer of shame. I really am overreacting. I really am weak. Why am I always like this? So instead of just going through one wave of emotion, you now face a second one, the wave of self-criticism. When those two join together, it is very hard for your mind to find any space to breathe. You're not only sad, you are sad about being sad. Not only anxious, you are anxious about being anxious. Not only lonely, you are also blaming yourself for that loneliness. Stoics are often misunderstood as people who turn off their emotions. But if you read them carefully, you will see they are far more subtle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." He did not say, "The fewer emotions, the stronger you are." He said, "The calmer the mind, the closer you are to strength." Calm here does not mean there are no waves. It means there is a place inside you where you can stand for a moment. A place you can step back to and watch what is happening in your inner world without being swept away completely. Epictetus also reminded us, when something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it. You can either accept it or resent it. Tonight, we are not trying to delete emotions. We are only trying to shift your attitude toward the waves that are already moving through you. Think of a recent day when your chest suddenly felt heavy and you did not know why. Maybe you were sitting at your desk looking at the screen, but your mind was somewhere else. Maybe you were on the subway watching people get on and off, and suddenly you just wanted to disappear from everything. Maybe you were standing at the sink in a small kitchen, water running, hands moving, but your inner world felt empty. Emotions do not show up with a clear label. They do not say, "Good evening, I am sadness," or "Hello, I am fear of being abandoned." They show themselves through your body, a lump in the throat, a tightness in the chest, a deep tiredness in the shoulders, a stomach that feels tense for no obvious reason. In those moments, you have two choices. You can rush to slap a label like, "I should not be like this" on top and reach for your phone, another video, another tab, another conversation to cover it up. Or you can let yourself pause for half a minute and simply admit, "I am sad, I am scared, I am tired." Nothing more. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Part of that extra suffering comes from the way we keep telling the story of our feelings in a way that makes them heavier. You do not just say, "Tonight I feel lonely." You turn it into, "I am always lonely. I will always be like this. No one truly needs me." You do not just say, "I am worried about tomorrow." You turn it into, "If I fail this time, my life is basically over." The original emotion might just be a small wave, a gentle signal from your body that something needs attention. But when it passes through the filter of those absolute sentences, it becomes a storm. Resilience is not about never having waves. It is about not telling extra stories that make those waves 10 times higher. Tonight, you do not have to analyze your feelings like a full therapy session. You only need to practice one very small thing. Instead of asking, "Why am I like this?" in a blaming tone, ask, What is this feeling trying to tell me? If you feel sad when someone does not reply, maybe it is reminding you that you need to feel seen, heard, valued more. If you feel anxious about the future, maybe it is telling you that you need a little more clarity about your next small steps, not a perfect plan for your whole life. If you feel angry when someone crosses your boundary, maybe it is a signal that the boundary is real, and you have the right to be treated with respect. When you treat emotions as messages, not sentences, you start to move out of being swept away and into a place inside where you can watch the waves go by. In the context of resilience, this matters a lot. If you treat every emotional surge as proof that you are weak, you will try to push it down each time it appears. You can push once, twice, many times. But after years, everything you push down will find another way out. A burnout that seems to come from nowhere. A long stretch of insomnia with no clear cause. A sudden explosion where you react far more strongly than you expected, and even you do not recognize yourself. On the other hand, if you accept that true resilience includes the ability to sit with your feelings for a while, without performing, without shoving them away, without clinging to them, you will begin to feel a very quiet strength. It will not make you look cool online, but it will save you from constant battles with yourself every night. Right now, if you want to try, you can gently come back to your body. No more analysis, no digging through memories. Just notice how your body reacts when you think about what worries you most lately. Does your chest tighten? Does your jaw clench? Does your stomach pull in? And instead of saying, "Stop it, do not be like this," you can simply say, "I see it." It is a tiny sentence, but it pulls you out of the two extremes you often get stuck in. Either drowning in the feeling as if you are the feeling itself, or pretending you do not have it at all. Between those two is a very human place, the place of someone learning how to stand still among the waves, knowing they cannot command the ocean, but they can choose not to jump into every whirlpool of self-blame whenever a wave rises. From this angle, resilience is no longer a cold wall blocking all emotions. It is a soft but steady core inside, a place you can return to when everything swells up. It is you saying to yourself, "I am sad, and that is okay. I am afraid, and that is okay too. I can feel these things and still choose not to use them to destroy myself." From that place, slowly, your mind learns that it does not need to fight every wave. Some waves only need to be seen, named, and allowed to roll back out on their own. The room around you is still the same: soft light, the sound of the fan or air conditioning, the warmth of your blanket and pillow. But if inside you are fighting yourself less, that alone is enough for resilience to begin to take root, and for the peace you are looking for to feel a little less out of reach. There is a very specific kind of tiredness that is hard to name. The exhaustion that comes from people, from relationships that are supposed to be places you can lean on, but often turn into places that make you feel smaller. You can tolerate work pressure. You can accept financial risk. You can learn to live with worry about the future. But one cold message, one time being abandoned when you needed someone most, one careless sentence from someone you love, that alone can send all of the resilience you carried during the day crashing to the floor. You lie there staring at the ceiling, and the questions keep running. What did I do wrong? Why are they treating me like this? If I were better, stronger, more interesting, would things be different? Every question cuts a little deeper into your sense of worth. The Stoics never pretend that wounds from other people do not hurt. Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by politics, relationships, betrayal, expectations. He knew very well how deeply people can hurt each other. Still, he reminded himself every morning, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly." He did not write that to be pessimistic. He wrote it to remind himself of something very important. Other people are whole worlds of their own, with their wounds, their fears, their distorted beliefs. You cannot build your resilience on the hope that everyone will always be kind, always fair, always understanding. If your strength depends entirely on people treating you right, then one person acting badly will shake your whole sense of self. Maybe you have been in this very familiar situation. You send a long, honest message, carefully explaining everything you feel and think, and what you receive back is a short, cold answer, or worse, silence. You ask to meet and talk clearly, but they postpone it again and again. You try to understand their state, their past, everything they are going through, until you forget that you are also a human being with limits. That night, when all the conversations stop, you lie in bed and replay every word you said, every look on their face, trying to analyze where you went wrong, where you were too much, where you were not enough. And slowly, your question shifts from, "What is happening between us?" to, "What is wrong with me?" Epictetus has a line that sounds sharp at first, but in nights like this, it can be deeply healing. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. It is not meant to blame you. It does not mean it is your fault that you are hurt. It is there to remind you that part of the story is still in your hands. The part where you decide how far you allow someone's words and actions to travel inside you. You do not control whether someone ghosts you, betrays you, understands you, or fails to. But you do control whether you turn their behavior into proof that I am not worthy. Resilience in relationships is not about tolerating every form of disrespect. It is about not letting other people's poor behavior become your permanent story about who you are. Marcus Aurelius has another short, powerful line. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. On the surface, it can sound like, live well to make them mad. But if you look deeper, it is an invitation to pull other people's weight out of the center of your life. When someone treats you badly, your first impulse is often to blame yourself, attack back, or try to prove your worth by changing yourself to fit what they want. The Stoics offer another option. Keep your inner compass. If you value honesty, you can continue to be honest, just not with someone who does not respect it. If you value respect, you do not need to lower your standards just to be loved. You can keep that standard and accept that some people will never meet you there. Resilience here is not measured by how many people you can hold on to. It is measured by how much of your core you can keep intact, even when someone fails to see it. None of this is easy, especially when you have been attached for a long time, when the late nights you used to share together have turned into nights where you lie alone, staring at the empty space where their name used to be on your screen. But if you allow yourself to look straight at the pain without adding, "because I am not enough," you have already taken a very big step. You can say, "I am hurting because I gave a lot to a place that did not take care of me." That is the truth. You do not have to run from it, and you do not have to dramatize it. From that truth, you can begin to set a few small boundaries. not replying to late-night messages just because they are bored, not taking responsibility for wounds they refuse to heal, not abandoning your own feelings just to keep the peace at any cost. In tonight's quiet, resilience in relationships can begin from one very small decision. You will not spend another night using yourself as proof that you deserve bad treatment. You cannot control whether they come back to apologize, whether they change, whether they learn anything from how they treated you. But you can control how you treat yourself afterward. You can choose softer sentences. I loved in the way I knew, with what I had at the time. I am not perfect, but I am not worthless just because someone did not stay. That is not denial. It is refusing to let this pain define your entire identity. As you gradually build this kind of resilience, relationships stop being the only thing that decides your mood every night. You can still love deeply, connect, open your heart. But you no longer place your entire sense of self in someone else's hands. You can still give, still show up, still listen, but you stop using being chosen or being left as the final measure of your worth. And as Marcus reminded us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. In the most important relationships of your life, that line might be truer than anywhere else. You do not have full control over their story, but you always have control over the story you tell yourself about everything that happened. And tonight, the quietest resilience you can choose might simply be to stop telling the version where you are always not enough and begin telling another one, where you are someone who has loved, has learned, has been hurt, but is still here, still able to keep your heart warm and kind before you ever offer it to anyone again. There is a very specific kind of shattering that does not come from other people, but from your own life compared to the plan you wrote in your head. At some age, you might have thought you would follow a pretty decent path. Finish school, get a good job, save some money, build a healthy relationship, slowly create a stable life. But then, at some point, things started to drift off course. A project you put a lot of hope into failed. A company you thought you would stay with for a long time cut staff. A relationship you were sure was the one ended. Your mental health crashed at a time when you did not have space to properly break down. You look back and see that the timeline you once drew no longer matches what is actually happening. And instead of only hurting because things have changed, you also hurt because of the thought, by now I should be in a different place, a different version of myself, a different life. In those moments, resilience often gets used like a slogan. Stand back up, keep pushing, trust the process. But you are lying in bed on a normal night like this, and you're not even sure you still believe in any kind of process. You have already stood back up many times, already pushed through many seasons, already trusted many plans, and the result is still this. An adult lying in their own apartment, staring at the ceiling, wondering when they started to get lost. What tires you is not only the concrete failures, losing a job, missing a chance, making a wrong decision, but the story you string together from all those stumbles and then use to define yourself. Maybe I am not smart enough. Maybe I am never meant to be successful. Maybe I am the kind of person who always ruins everything. The Stoics never deny the pain when things fall apart. They're just very careful with the meaning they attach to those moments. Marcus Aurelius has a sentence that people repeat all the time. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. It does not mean everything bad is actually good, and it definitely does not mean be happy about your failures. It simply points to this reality. The thing you see as a dead end can sometimes be the very place that forces you to turn in a direction you would never have considered if everything had gone smoothly. The problem is that when you are standing in the middle of that dead end, you almost never see the bigger picture. All you feel is the wall in front of you and the echo of "I should have" and "I should be" in your head. Seneca also wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." If you read that without any context, it is easy to use it as a stick to beat someone who is already hurting. See, you need trials. Stop complaining. But if you place it inside your modern life, you can understand it differently. Not every trial is meant to be. You are not required to endure endless pain. It is just that some of your sharp edges, your old beliefs, and your illusions about being able to control your whole life show themselves most clearly when you hit something that does not go your way. The point is not to learn how to love the friction, but to learn how not to turn every scratch into proof that you are a worthless stone. Think about a recent stumble. It might be a project you felt confident about, but that was not chosen. A job you applied for but never heard back from. A plan to move apartment, move career, move city that got postponed indefinitely. You have the right to be disappointed. You have the right to be sad. You have the right to lie there and feel like everything is pointless for a while. Resilience does not require you to immediately reframe things in a positive light and say, "There must be a higher reason for this." Sentences like that, if they arrive too early, are just a thin coat of paint over broken pieces. What the Stoics suggest is not denial, but a question you keep in your back pocket for the later phase of the pain. When the first shock has softened, when you have a little bit of room to breathe again. From all the things I could not control in this situation, what still remains in my hands? And if I see this experience as a part of my journey, where is it asking me to grow up? Maybe failing at a job forces you to look honestly at what you are actually good at and want to pour yourself into, instead of just surviving in a role because you are afraid to change. Maybe a financial crash makes you see how many years you have lived without paying attention to your relationship with money, with risk, with safety. Maybe a breakup pushes you to face the fact that you have always chosen people who cannot give you what you really need, because deep down, you believe you do not deserve a healthier love. Not every stumble is pretty. Many are messy, unfair, crude. But without them, you would probably never sit up at 2 or 3 in the morning, stare into the dark, and ask the hard questions you have been avoiding for years. Resilience here is not the ability to go back to your starting point and pretend nothing ever happened. It is the ability to keep walking with a more honest version of yourself. After every time a plan falls apart, you have 2 options. You can use it to strengthen the story, "I am a failure," or you can treat it as data, sometimes very painful data, that helps you understand yourself better. The Stoics would choose the second option, not because they do not feel pain, but because they refuse to let things outside their control decide their entire identity. They can still say, "This is really bad," but they do not add, "and that means I am nothing." If tonight you're lying here feeling like you have fallen behind compared to people your age, people buying homes, getting promoted, getting married, having children, you do not have to lie to yourself and say, "I am right on track," if you clearly do not believe that. You only need to honestly admit, "I feel left behind. I feel like I am losing," I feel ashamed. And then very slowly you can ask, according to what standard? What standard are you using? Is it some invisible timeline that society handed you? Or is it a set of values you actually believe matter for your life? If the Stoics understood one thing deeply, it is this: each human life is its own journey, with its own rhythm, its own tests. Comparing timelines mostly just blinds you to the lessons that are happening right now in your own story. Marcus once wrote, "Do not be ashamed of help." In the context of setbacks and failure, that line has another layer. Do not be ashamed when you are no longer on track the way you thought, and you need some time to stand up again. You can lean on therapy, on friends, on family, on small habits that keep you from falling too deep. That is not a sign that you lack resilience. It is a sign that you are practicing a more mature resilience, knowing when you need extra strength from outside instead of forcing yourself to carry everything alone until you break. Right now, in your room, you might not have any clear answer to the question, where do I go from here? That is okay. Resilience does not demand a detailed map for the next 10 years. It only asks that you do not use the road you just walked, with all its wrong turns, dead ends, and loops, as proof that it is not worth walking anymore. You have the right to pause for a while, the right to breathe, the right to be sad, the right to sleep deeply without feeling guilty for not having made a comeback fast enough. You do not owe anyone a perfect version of yourself right now. Not even yourself. You can feel your body on the bed again, the way the mattress holds your back, the weight of your body sinking down, the warmth weaving between your skin and the blanket. The only thing you truly have for sure in this moment is this moment. Not the old plan, not other people's timelines, not the "by now I should have" sentences you keep repeating. Here, in these few minutes, resilience can simply mean letting yourself step away from the story about success and failure and return to the most basic fact. You are still breathing. Your heart, after all the times your plans have broken, is still beating in this chest. And the simple fact that you care enough to lie here, listening, wondering how to keep living in a more meaningful way, that alone is a sign your journey is not over at all. It has just gone through a hard stretch and is getting ready to turn into a direction you might not be able to see clearly yet. By now you may see that resilience is not some dramatic moment, not a single big comeback that makes everyone impressed. It is more like a muscle. If you never use it, it is weak. If you use it in the wrong way, you injure it. If you train it properly, it grows very slowly but steadily. The question is, in a busy, chaotic life like yours, with work, bills, relationships, constant notifications, how can you build that quiet strength without turning it into another project you must do perfectly? The Stoics did not sit around all day thinking about philosophy. They lived in the middle of everything: war, politics, business, loss, illness. What they did was weave philosophy into micro moments of their day. Tiny moments that seem small but repeat over and over. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Not on your job title, not on other people's opinions, not on how smoothly your plans run, but on what you repeat in your head every day." If you want to build resilience, you do not need to start with huge decisions. You start with what you allow yourself to think, say, and do in the small spaces between all the noise. One of the most basic Stoic practices is to review yourself at the end of the day. Seneca wrote, "We should every night call ourselves to an account." not to torture ourselves, but to understand how we actually lived that day. For you, this does not have to be a complicated ritual. It can be as simple as spending a few minutes before sleep, on your bed, on the couch, or sitting on the edge of the bed with a warm light on, asking yourself 3 very gentle questions. How did I treat myself today? Where did I let someone cross my boundaries today? Was there a moment today where I was more resilient than I realized? You do not need to write a long journal entry. A few lines in a notes app or a few sentences said silently in your head is enough to keep your mind from drifting through the whole day on autopilot. Another small practice that can change a lot is how you start your morning. Marcus wrote about how hard it was to get out of bed and reminded himself that he was not born to lie warm under the blankets, but to do the work of a human being. You do not have to romanticize the 5 a.m. club. You do not have to become a morning person if that does not fit your life. But you can borrow the spirit of Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. First tell yourself what kind of person you want to be, then do what you need to do. Each morning, instead of opening your phone and letting the feed carry you away, you can give yourself 1 minute, just one, to remember. How do I want to show up today? As someone who constantly beats myself up? Or as someone who treats myself a little more kindly even when everything is still messy? That answer will not erase your problems, but it will reset your internal compass for the day. Throughout the day, resilience is built through small pauses, micro pauses. You cannot control the volume of pressure that comes at you, but you can create small cracks where you are not submerged. For example, before replying to an email that upsets you, you can stop for 3 breaths, read it once more, and ask, do I want to respond from hurt or from calm? Before agreeing to take on another task when you know you have no energy left, you can pause and ask, if I say yes again, what am I protecting and what am I abandoning? These questions do not need perfect answers. The fact that you stop to ask is already a Stoic move. You are pulling yourself out of autopilot, where your reactions are only instinct or fear. Resilience is also built through small boundaries you set with your digital life. In reality, a big part of emotional exhaustion today comes from the fact that your brain is almost never left alone. There is always another notification, another clip, another thread, another drama pulling you in. You do not have to quit social media. You do not have to become a hermit. But you can try a few very concrete Stoic boundaries. Turn off notifications after a certain hour at night. Do not read work email in bed. Do not reopen a conversation that makes you restless right before you sleep. These things sound small and not philosophical, but they are exactly the ground where resilience grows. Because a mind that is fried by overstimulation will struggle to be calm, no matter how many Stoic quotes you read. Another habit worth trying is reframing the way you talk to yourself about your mistakes. Instead of the default, I really am useless, you can borrow a frame from Marcus. What virtue is this situation asking me to practice? His original words are longer, but the spirit is this. When you snap at someone, instead of stopping at, I am terrible, you can ask, is this inviting me to practice patience, honesty, or boundaries? When you miss a deadline, instead of only scolding yourself, you can ask, is this trying to teach me about planning, about saying I will not make it sooner, or about asking for support earlier? Not to dodge responsibility, you still own your actions. but so that your mistakes are not only endings, but data points that help you grow. Of course, all these habits mean nothing if you turn them into another checklist to beat yourself with. Not journaling enough, not getting up early, not holding boundaries perfectly, not reframing fast enough. Resilience does not come from executing a perfect Stoic routine. It comes from patiently returning to these small practices, even when you drop them for days or weeks. Every time you come back, you are sending yourself a message very different from the harsh voice you are used to. I am worth taking care of. I am worth building a calmer life for, even if I am not perfect. Tonight, in your room, you do not need to apply all of this. You only need to choose one small habit that feels most natural to you. Maybe the 3 questions before bed, a 1-minute morning intention, a short pause before answering a triggering message, or a tiny boundary with your phone. You do not have to make it aesthetic. You only need to repeat it enough times for your mind to start believing that it has a place to return to, instead of always being dragged around by everything pulling on you. You can tune into the space around you again. The soft light in the room, the sound of the fan or the air conditioner, the feeling of the blanket on your skin, the rise and fall of your breath. All of that is the backdrop. You do not control everything out there, but you can start laying a few small bricks for a new foundation inside. And maybe resilience will no longer feel like some distant image. It will simply be this. In the middle of all the chaos, you quietly practicing a few small things that no one else sees to protect your mind from total burnout. These habits will not make you look cooler to anyone, but they will give you more peaceful nights and more mornings where you wake up without feeling like you are starting from below zero. There is something that sounds very simple, but is surprisingly hard for many adults. Allowing yourself to rest without feeling guilty. You can work through your tiredness, support others all day, take on extra responsibility without complaining. But the moment you lie down a bit earlier, turn off your screen a bit sooner, or say no to a plan because you are exhausted, a very familiar voice in your head shows up. I am being lazy. I am being weak. I am wasting time. I should be doing more. So even when your body is done, you still open one more tab, handle one more task, answer one more message. Not because it truly needs to be done tonight, but because you cannot stand the feeling of stopping. If you look back, you might notice you were taught a lot more about working hard than about resting responsibly. You were praised for staying up late to hit a deadline, for sacrificing yourself for the team, for always being willing to take on more. Very few people taught you that knowing when to stop is also a form of maturity, that respecting your limits is not selfish, but a condition for living, working, loving, and contributing over the long term. It is no surprise that at this age, every time you want to pause, to rest, to say, today is enough, your mind throws a long list of things you should have done, people you should have answered, goals you should have been closer to by now. Marcus Aurelius has a line that is worth sitting with on nights like this. Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look there. What is interesting is what he does not say. He does not say, run faster, do more, endure more. He says, look into yourself. Turn inward. The source of strength he talks about is not refilled by forcing yourself to keep doing things without end. It is refilled when you come back to that inner core, your mind, your body, your values. If you pour all your energy into running and fighting without sometimes turning back to check on that well, it will run dry. And when it does, no plan, no deadline, no relationship, no goal will feel meaningful in the same way. Seneca also talks about enough in a very Stoic way. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. That does not only apply to money, it applies to everything: recognition, achievement, productivity, the constant urge to do a bit more. If every night you go to bed with the feeling, not enough yet, I do not deserve rest, I did not push hard enough, then no matter how much you achieve on the outside, inside you will always feel lacking. In that state, resilience stops being strength and becomes a whip. You use it to lash yourself whenever your body and mind simply need to pause and breathe. If we are honest, on many nights you are not doing anything truly useful with the extra hours, but you are still not really resting. You do not sleep, but you are not truly living more either. You just scroll, watch things you will not remember, answer messages you did not want to answer, stretch out a half-working, half-avoiding state. That is not charging the battery. That is leaving the machine on idle, heating up without producing anything of value. The hard part is not the physical act of resting. It is accepting that stopping does not equal failing, that not squeezing every last drop of usefulness out of your day does not make the whole day meaningless, that sometimes the best thing you can do for tomorrow is not to touch anything else tonight. From a Stoic angle, resting properly does not clash with resilience. It is a part of it. A soldier on a battlefield cannot fight forever without returning to the rear to bandage wounds, rearrange the line, and breathe. A mind is the same. If you force yourself to stay on 24/7, you will end up where many modern people are: burnout. A state where even simple tasks feel heavy as stone, and the things you used to love no longer move you. Resilience is not about lasting longer on the road to burnout than everyone else. Resilience is noticing when you're getting close to that line and daring to turn back earlier, even while the world around you is still glorifying grinding and hustling. Tonight, in your room, there's probably no one standing over you, giving orders, demanding tasks, or scoring your performance. The only one still evaluating you is that voice in your head, the one that has memorized lines like, "Try harder, other people do more. If you rest now, you will fall behind." You do not have to fight it, you can just answer differently this time. Instead of, "What else do I need to get done?" try, "For me, today is enough." Instead of, "I do not deserve to rest," try, "My body has worked all day. It deserves a few hours turned off." You do not have to fully believe it right away. Just repeat it a few times, like a new mantra for a nervous system that has spent too long in survival mode. Resting does not mean dropping everything, caring about nothing, or living irresponsibly. If you zoom out, you will often see that people who know how to rest at the right time are the ones who keep their promises longer, to their work, to others, to themselves. A car that never stops for fuel will die on the side of the road. A body that never gets deep sleep will make you pay with foggy days, a racing heart, and muscles that are always tight. A mind with no quiet space will start tearing itself apart from the inside. With negative thoughts, you no longer have the energy to challenge. In that light, turning your phone off a bit earlier, getting into bed a bit earlier, letting yourself be non-productive for a few hours is not abandoning your goals. It is maintenance of the only system that can take you to any goal at all. Right now, you can give yourself a small test. Picture your tomorrow with whatever's waiting for you: work, people, responsibilities. Which version of you will be more resilient? The one who forces themselves to stay up 2 more hours tonight to finish a few things, sleeps lightly, and wakes up with a head full of fog? Or the one who lets themselves stop, sleeps a bit more deeply, and wakes up with a mind that is not so tangled, with enough clarity to face whatever comes? If you answer honestly, you probably know which version you need. If so, going to sleep earlier tonight is not running away. It is choosing a different kind of strength, the strength of someone who knows they are not a machine. You can feel the very ordinary things around you more clearly. The support of the mattress under your back, the warmth of the blanket over your body, the air in the room, the rhythm of your breath in your chest. All of this is inviting you to do something you have probably delayed for a long time. Let yourself rest fully without resting and self-blaming at the same time. No more picking up your phone 10 times, no more reopening email, no more rehearsing future arguments. Just one night out of all the nights of your life where you decide that resilience is no longer about tightening every muscle, but about knowing when to stop. And from here, we will slowly let everything slow down even more. Fewer words, less analysis, fewer questions. So your body has a real chance to do what it was built to do every night: fall asleep. Heal in quiet ways that do not need your management or your control. You have already walked a long way in your thoughts tonight. For the rest of this journey, you do not have to keep walking alone. You have gone through a lot in one night, more than you usually allow yourself to think about before sleep. The invisible backpack you carry, the distorted definitions of being strong you have lived with for years. The things within your control and the things that are not. The waves of emotion, the cuts from relationships, the times life did not follow your plan, the small habits, the right to rest. It would be a bit of a waste if all of that stayed at the level of "I understand it," but you also do not need to turn it into a homework assignment you must complete before you sleep. Tonight, the important thing is not how many ideas you remember. It is this: after everything you heard, how much can your mind soften? How much less harsh can you be with yourself? Just enough for your body to enter sleep without being dragged back over and over. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can you find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in your own soul." All day you have been out there, in work, in your inbox, in conversations, in thoughts about how others see you, in unconscious comparisons. Now you do not need to go anywhere. You do not need a new city, a new apartment, or a new life to have a quiet place. Tonight, that quiet place starts exactly where you are lying, with this one body, this one breath, this very ordinary room. You do not have to fix everything before you are allowed to rest. You only have to agree that for the next few hours you will let your mind step inside, like walking into a private room no one else can touch. You can come back to the simplest things. First, your breath. You do not need to control it perfectly or breathe with correct technique. Just notice how your breath is moving. In through your nose, down into your chest and belly, then out. I will invite you to do one small thing. Breathe a little slower than usual, as if you are slowing down a train that has been running too fast. Breathe in for one count and breathe out for a little longer. With each exhale, you can imagine placing one stone out of that invisible backpack, not emptying it, just not carrying everything into your sleep. The unanswered emails can stay in your inbox. The unfinished conversations can rest in your chat history. The big decisions can wait for another morning when your mind is clearer and your body is less tired. Tonight, you do not owe the world a single answer. Next, you can scan slowly through your body, like checking on a friend who has walked with you all day and almost never gets asked, "Are you okay?" Start with your forehead, which may be slightly tense from thinking. You can gently imagine smoothing it from the inside. Move down to your eyes that have stared at screens for many hours. You can allow them to feel heavier, let your eyelids fall naturally with no need to stay open to watch over anything. At your jaw, if you notice you often clench your teeth when stressed, you can let it loosen, allow a small space between your teeth as a quiet signal to your nervous system that there is nothing to fight for in the next few hours. Your shoulders, which carry so many invisible things, can drop into the mattress. Your back is supported by the bed, your arms, hands, each finger. All of them are allowed to grow heavier as if gravity has turned up slightly, pulling you closer to the bed. From your chest down to your belly, you can notice if there is any place that feels tight, like a knot that has not been untied. With every exhale, you can imagine loosening that knot a little more, not ripping it open, just lessening the squeeze. Your hips, legs, knees, ankles, feet, all of them can slowly let go. You do not have to relax perfectly. If each part of you becomes even slightly softer than when you first lay down, your body already understands. Tonight is different from the daytime. I am allowed to rest. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In these minutes, mastery is not about controlling every thought. It is about choosing something very small but important, allowing your body to sleep even while your mind still wants to keep thinking. You can let the ideas about resilience drift through your mind like clouds. You do not need to hold them or organize them. One cloud might be about control. What belongs to you and what does not. Another about emotions, waves that rise and fall without needing to be fought every time. Another cloud holds faces, the relationships that have passed through your life, leaving both warmth and scars. Another holds failures, plans that went off track, the fact that your journey has been harder than you expected. All of them can drift by, and you do not need to grab any one of them tonight. Resilience will continue to grow tomorrow, through your small decisions, through how you talk to yourself, through the moments when you set boundaries, say enough, or choose rest. Tonight, you only have to do one thing. Do not sabotage tomorrow's work by punishing yourself for a few more hours. If you notice, your room is already a pretty safe container for sleep. Familiar walls, familiar ceiling, the smell of your sheets, the sound of the fan or air conditioning, the distant noise of the city. All of that tells your body, I am home. And even if your mind has many unanswered questions, many worries with no solution yet, the simple truth is this: right now you are in a relatively safe place, on your own bed, with a body that is still breathing. You do not have to earn the right to feel safe. It is one of the most basic human rights. Seneca said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." You have already been courageous all day. The smallest reward you can give yourself now is a few hours of sleep that are not chopped up by self-punishing thoughts. From this point on, you do not have to listen carefully to every word anymore. You can let these words move into the background, like someone sitting beside you, speaking very softly, while your focus shifts fully to your breath and your body. If a thought suddenly jumps in, You do not have to wrestle with it. You can simply notice and say, I will think about that tomorrow. Then bring your attention back to the heaviness in your hands, your legs, your back, your head. Each time you do that, you are practicing exactly the kind of resilience the Stoics described. Not controlling the world, but gently guiding your mind away from places it cannot change, back toward the one thing it can do now. Let you sleep. For the rest of this night, you do not have to be strong. You do not have to solve anything. You do not have to understand everything. You only have to be here, in this body, on this bed, and let sleep come whenever it is ready. Your mind can take a break. Everything else can wait for the morning.